and we saw that there are some things which are in state and there are some things which are under center. What is the name of the item which lies in the union list? I repeat the question. What is the name of the item list that lies under the union list, right? Yeah, union subjects. If my voice is not audible, do write, right? Mention in comment section that's why your voice is not audible. And if you got the question, write the answer. Yesterday we discussed the Polity 365. I am hinting on that particular subject that it was the starting of the session, right? So when we started the session, we were discussing about a certain article in which we saw there were some subjects under the union list and some under state list. Interstate water dispute. Okay, that would work too, right? It's not exactly dispute because dispute is a constitutional word, right? It's simply the interstate distribution, river distribution, that is under the union list. Why did I emphasize on that first before starting this? Because remember, the things which are under union list, they are very easy to legislate on. Parliament है, Parliament के सामने एक subject आया. If it's lying under the union list, Parliament is going to have no problem to make a law on it. The problem arrives when it is a subject under state list, not even concurrent, but state list. In such situation, what happens is that Parliament has no other option than to go for a model act. और ये हमारा अगला टॉपिक है मॉडल प्रिजन एक्ट. सो व्हेन रिमेंबर, अब से जो भी आप मॉडल एक्ट पढ़ोगे न्यूज में, any model act that you are coming across while preparing for UPSC through books or otherwise, those are all the subjects which are under state list. ठीक है. So यहाँ हमारे सामने है मॉडल प्रिजन एक्ट. It is pretty clear कि prison is a state subject, and because prison is a state subject, it becomes much more clear that if in, let's for example say कि prelims में एक question आता है where the statement is relating to prison service, right, या prison duration, so it is but obvious कि जो उसके ऊपर legislative power है to make any law on upon it, it would be lying with states, right? Has this happened before? Yes. So your all APMC bundis, they are all formed under state list, by state laws. But a model act on state, that is APMC, have been produced in center. There is 2 more model laws that they have given in past. उसमें से कोई सा एक भी बता दो तो चलेगा. For means preparation है हालांकि ये, but it is advisable that you know that certain laws have some model acts. So my question is that you need to mention any single model act that you can remember that union or central government has produced in past, except for obviously Prison Act and let's say APMC. चलो ठीक है, I'll rate this that this question is indeed a little bit tough, right? If you were preparing for UPSC mains, then I would have been a little bit critical अगर आपको पता नहीं होता, but this works, no problem with it, right? So for example, there is a animal husbandry हो गया, ठीक है, लाइवलीहुड हो गया। सो नीति आयोग के 3 एक्ट्स है under the agriculture that it has produced and are said to be model acts which the state governments have to copy. अगेन एनफोर्सेबल नहीं है, ये भी याद रखो। अगर नीति कोई सा एक्ट दे रहा है वो एनफोर्सेबल नहीं हो जाता है, ठीक है, वो सिर्फ मॉडल एक्ट दे रहा है जिसको आपको फॉलो करना चाहिए। सो जो 3 लॉज है जिसके बारे में बात कर रहा था, किसी को याद आया? लास्ट कॉल, नहीं आया तो कोई बात नहीं। ठीक है। सो द वन वाज लैंड लीजिंग एक्ट ऑफ 2016। फिर एज हमने बात कर ली एपीएमसी को लेके था, सो एग्रीकल्चर मार्केट करके एक एक्ट था 2018 में, जिसके साथ उसने एक और निकाला था विच वाज एलाइड एंड एलाइड एक्टिविटीज एंड हस्बेंड्री, राइट। सो दीज वर द 3 लॉज दैट नीति आयोग केम अप विथ, एंड ये मॉडल एक्ट्स उसने प्रोड्यूस करे थे सो दैट स्टेट्स कैन कॉपी अपॉन इट, राइट। दिस वाज व्हाट हिस्ट्री ऑफ मॉडल एक्ट्स हैव बीन। उसके अलावा देयर हैव बीन मोर लॉज, सच एज देयर वाज इन 2020 दे हैड बॉट लैंड टाइटल्स लॉ, राइट। देन जो आपका फार्म एक्ट था वो न्यूज में आया था। व्हाई इट वाज इन न्यूज? ऑन द सेम इशू दैट फार्मिंग या फार्मर, राइट, these activities, farming activities are under state, so how can union make an act upon it? कैसे बना लिया था? न्यूज पता होनी चाहिए, इज वेरी नेसेसरी। How did center frame the acts? Because they were approved by Supreme Court too. So मतलब constitutionally they have not voided any separation of power. Remember है ना, ये लोग भूल जाते हैं, but the farm acts were held constitutional by Supreme Court. So if the state power was being breached, this vertical distribution was being breached, कहीं ना कहीं basic structure violate हो रहा होता, and Supreme Court would have said that these laws are null. However, Supreme Court said that farm acts are okay, no issue with their constitutionality. Why? So it was because जो उन्होंने सब्जेक्ट वहां पे टारगेट करा था, इट वाज अबाउट द प्रोड्यूस। उन्होंने वहां पे इसको फार्म प्रोड्यूस नहीं, बल्कि जब हम मार्केट में किसी भी आइटम को बेचने जाते तो उसने इसको मार्केट प्रोड्यूस की तरह लिया था। तो इट सेड कि जो मार्केट में बिक रहा है, राइट, एक कमोडिटी है, एंड कमोडिटी के ऊपर तो सेंटर का ही है। So they took this as a commodity and then they framed a law upon it. This is how they bypassed criticism में bypass लिखेंगे, but this is how they constitutionally made up the farm act. ठीक है, so अब आगे बढ़ते। The topic today is Model Prison Act. Model का मतलब समझ गए? I think the last 10 minutes must have been made you to realize what the importance of model word itself is, right? And it is said to replace the Prison Act of 1894. ठीक है, all good. Now there are some keywords here, आते हैं एक एक करके। So the proposals are जो include करेगा in the Model Prison Act, पहली बात, to encourage good conduct. So provision for the grant of parole, furlough and remission. ठीक है, remission is something which comes again and again जब हम गवर्नर की मर्सी पिटीशन वाली पावर पढ़ते हैं। What is the article for governors and presidents power to, sorry, give mercy please? Excuse me, I'll repeat the question. प्रेसिडेंट और गवर्नर के पास मर्सी प्ली के ऊपर डिसीजन देने की पावर है, राइट, दे कैन हियर द मर्सी प्लीज। ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल आर्टिकल के थ्रू आती है। तो ये जो पावर है ये कौन से आर्टिकल में मेंशन्ड है? द प्ली पार्डनिंग पावर। ठीक है, एंड फॉर प्रेसिडेंट, फॉर गवर्नर, हाँ करेक्ट, कभी भी कंफ्यूजन हो, आई थिंक आई मेंशन दिस 89 का लॉ है, add 89 to that particular article of president and you will come at the governor's article, right, of parallel power. So remission, I hope आपने प्रेसिडेंट की प्ली पावर जब पढ़े हैं तो उसमें पढ़ा होगा कि व्हाट इज रिमिशन. आई एम गोइंग टू स्किप दिस, आई एम गोइंग टू ओनली आस्क यू अबाउट parole एंड फर्लो. व्हाट इज parole एंड फर्लो? अच्छा, परोल या फर्लो में से कोई सा एक आता है तो वो भी चलेगा. Why is it necessary? Because UPSC almost have asked something related to parole. Okay, चलो, क्योंकि स्पीड अप करना है सो आई विल बी टेलिंग. देखो, you remember Sanjay Dutt was in jail, right? Or any famous personality याद कर लो who was in jail. What happened is that they were in jail, but they were able to come out of prison even while they were, sorry, in the jail, right? So what happens exactly in parole is that you are basically released from the prison. You are released from the prison, and the sentence is suspended temporarily. एक minute. Please give me 5 minutes. मैम पॉज कर देना सेशन 5 मिनट्स के लिए.